we're going to be doing an oil change, and I'm going to be starting it today. Now, why do you do your own oil changes? Because it gives me an opportunity to get underneath here and to look over my steering linkage once in a while. It doesn't have to be done very often. It should all still stay good. You can look at your boots on everything, make sure they're still good. And I need to clean them off, but you can go ahead and grease all of your steering system. Gives you an opportunity to see that there's no broken bolts, nothing that looks funny. Now let's turn this thing around so that you can see my pretty face for a second. And we're going to get off underneath here. The oil filter, you can't see it because it is dirty, is up here. Now most Ford and Chevrolet engines, the oil filter and the drain plug are very close to each other. And on some of these 6-cylinders, especially a straight 6 and or 4-cylinders, the oil filter will be on the side of the block. The block's way up here, but it'll be on the side of the block because the block is standing straight up and down. Now, my experience, in most cases, oil filters and drain plugs are easy to find. And what I like to do when I have time is I like to open both of these up and let them drain overnight, is what I like to do. And in doing so, I ensure that I get almost every single drop of the bad oil, except for the oil that literally sits soaked into the bearings. The bearings are designed to soak oil up. So I've got these loose. Okay, I got the drain plug going, and it's draining away. Like I said, I'll let this drain overnight. This is Friday evening, so I've got plenty of time, and it'll sit here and drain overnight. Okay, the other thing that gives you opportunity to do is you're going to have to pop the hood to put fresh oil in. Gives you an opportunity to look at your belt or your serpentine belt and make sure that there's nothing going on there. Gives you an opportunity to look for any possible bad hoses and just kind of look generally overall for major leaks. This poor old truck goes through a lot of trouble and goes bouncing down in a lot of trails. So I really got to inspect her real good on occasions. And so anyways, that's the general idea. Other reasons to go ahead and change your own oil is a lot of these quick change places, well, not a lot of them, I know some of them, it's even been in the news here lately. These quick change oil places, they have a tendency of telling you they're putting in one thing and then winding up putting in something completely different, knowing that you have no way of really knowing. So if you ask for a certain type of oil, let's say Pennzoil, and they tell you, yeah, we're going to put Pennzoil into it, and then they toss in some real inexpensive off-brand oil that you have no way of knowing that that's what they did. Just recently, but a news report where that's exactly what they was doing here locally. So that's the other reason why. Now, yeah, you have this used oil that you have to put into a container, and then you can take it to your local automotive shop, not shop, but parts store. And everyone that I've ever seen will take that used oil for nothing. And more than likely, you're going to be buying your new quarts of oil from them So they're more than happy to take used oil and used antifreeze and used transmission fluid from you. Okay, it's the next day. It's time to put the oil filter on. I had a Fram on here, which I trust. I spent 4 years in Lubbock, Texas, and I know that Fram is a very good quality oil filter that will keep everything clean. And I also happen to trust wicks. I've tested them pretty much side by side. You can use whatever filters you want, but the Fram and the wicks have worked extremely well for me over the years. You always want to check, make sure that the new filter is the same size as the old filter, which they are. And then what you're going to want to do is put a little bit of oil on this seal, so that whenever you take the filter off the next time around, it'll come off easier. Okay, the seal is oiled. I'm off underneath the truck, and what you're looking at is where the oil filter goes, and then right there is where the plug goes. Now you want to look and make sure that there's the old seal actually came off and there's not an old seal up there of any sort. You want to make sure that nothing is marred up. The same with where the plug goes. When you put the oil filter on, get it up there, get it started. You don't need no tool. Get it down until it seats, and then go about 3/4 to a full turn more on the oil filter. And then you can put the plug in, take the plug down until it seats, turn it in by hand. And anyways, like I said, you want to go about 3/4 to 1 full turn. Just snug the thing down a bit. It doesn't take a whole lot to make it sealed. As long as the seal that's on this plug is good, it will seal. Last quart going in. Now I've changed oil on this 96 GMC enough to know that I can go ahead and put 5 quarts in. You may want to read your owner's manual to see how many quarts your engine is supposed to have. Okay, last quart's in. I do not pre-charge my oil filter. The engine's not running right now because your bearings inside your engine actually soak up oil, and as long as the bearings themselves are good, it's not a problem running at 10 to 15 seconds without oil pressure. And your oil pressure should come up within 10 to 15 seconds after you start the vehicle. So we're going to go ahead and start this truck. You see the oil pressure, which is right there, drop down to 0. So let's go ahead and start it. 1, 2, and right there it went up. So you see it doesn't take any length of time. The next thing you want to do is just take one quick peek underneath the vehicle to make sure that it's not spewing oil. Once in a while you might do something wrong, so it's always good to go ahead and check. Anyways, that's the end of it.